Henley, the high summer home of the Royal Regatta, was the original home of the boat race. Nearly 150 years ago, Oxford and Cambridge took flight downstream, and it was only in the 1970s that the universities began to compete again at Henley. This year there were 4 races, umpired by Peter Coney, chairman of the Henley Regatta, no less.
You okay? Your turn to call, yeah.
Oxford won all 4 tosses. The Cambridge lightweights produced a warm-up routine good enough for a footlights rehearsal. But appearances are sometimes deceptive. Even the stateliest progress is sustained by some vigorous effort underneath. And sometimes, hello, even Henley encounters a little problem about who should be using which part of the river.
Yes, I see the point you're making, but though I must confess it's my fault, but I don't confess I see how we solve it.
Rights of way were eventually established without the need to send for a gunboat, nobody was given a ticket, and battle commenced.
Ready, Oxford. Ready, Cambridge.
Are you ready? Go!
The river was high with a strong tide, and that didn't make for easy conditions at the start, though the towpath experts were forecasting fast tides. Cambridge set off with the higher striking rate, but it was Oxford, stroked by Helen Cocker from last year's reserve boat, who began to establish an early lead. The first bend brought steering problems. Umpire Peter Coney warned Michael Collier, the male cox of the Cambridge 8. Oxford's coaching policy seems to have been a case of the many motivating the few. In the official programme, the Oxford University Women's Boat Club thanked no fewer than 21 coaches. It was in 1975 that the men's lightweight crews restored Oxford and Cambridge racing to Henley. The ladies were invited to join them 2 years later, and found the Thames here much preferable to competing alternately on the Cam and the Isis, neither of which is really suitable. Nowadays, the ladies' reserve crews and the ladies' lightweights also match their skill and strength on the same afternoon. Cambridge, stroked by Rachel Murray, with a heavier crew. If you read the programme notes, you might have thought it was all a bit of a giggle. Jane Flint, at 4 for Cambridge, made a claim for fame on the strength of having been a cow in the school nativity play. But don't be fooled, there are a couple of girls in each crew who will be competing for national squad recognition and a place in the Seoul Olympic Games. Oxford didn't name among their 21 acknowledged coaches Dan Topolsky, who last year concluded a highly successful, if occasionally contentious, relationship with the Oxford men's crew. Dan's involvement with the ladies has been limited to the last 2 or 3 weeks, and has been principally devoted to getting them to generate more power in the water. Here, he will certainly succeed. finish, Oxford, looking much stronger, won by just over a length in a new record time of 5 minutes 37 seconds. And what particularly pleased their coach, Dan Topolsky.
That they took it right from the start, that they really got the bit between the teeth. There was a lot of flatting about at the start, which was very, very difficult, but they kept their minds on it, and they took off as if they meant business, and it was great.
At the end of the afternoon, honours were even with 2 victories apiece. Blondie, the Cambridge women's reserve crew, were disqualified after finishing more than a length ahead of Osiris, their Oxford counterparts. But Cambridge had a 3-length advantage at the end of the women's lightweight race, and here, in the closest finish of the afternoon, the men's lightweight race also went to the light blues, but only by 2 seconds.